Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the class of Fiqh. Today, inshallah, we'll continue discussing the permissibility or the obligation of provision for the parents and the children. Now, we mentioned that it is obligatory to spend or to provide for the parents, or one of them, with two conditions. These two conditions are poverty and sickness, or poverty and insanity. Scholars mention that poverty by itself is not enough, in a sense that the person can work and he can get money. But if he is unable to get money, then it has to be provided for him. Provision becomes mandatory. And they mention those as examples, because when the parent is sick and he is poor, that means he cannot sustain for himself, so he needs someone. And when we say it is mandatory for the children to provide for their parents, that means, can they give zakah for them? The answer is no, because this money is mandatory, it's not zakah. Zakah is only to the people that you don't have to provide for them. This is the provision for the parents. What about children? When do they deserve provision? They deserve it in three cases where it is must. Poverty and childhood. This is the first case. If they are poor and they are children. Now remember, when we say childhood, it means not reaching the age of puberty. That's what we mean by childhood. Did not reach the age of puberty. So if someone is 11 years old, you have a son and he's 11 years old, do you have to provide for him? Do you have to? He's 11 years old. The answer is yes. What if he has money? He won $2 million. Prize or something. He won it and he has his money. Do you have to provide for him? No. He's not poor. Yes, he is child, but he is not poor. So he has to be child and he has to be poor. That's the condition. Poverty and childhood. Because if he is wealthy, then you only guard his money. You provide for him from his money. Because still, even if he has millions, he cannot execute or act. This money is his, but he needs someone to act on his behalf. So this is the first case, when they are under the age of puberty and they are poor. The second case, if they are poor and sick, or if they are poor and insane. So we have three cases. If your child is poor and sick, even if he is 30 years old, he's your child. He cannot work, he's sick. Do you say, I cannot provide for you anymore? That's enough, 30 years? No, you still have to provide for him. If he is old, he is poor, but he is not sick, he is insane. The same thing, he cannot make money. Now mostly they mention children, but they mean in general the boys. What about the girls? Until they marry. But it doesn't say here. Because usually, you will not find one woman, one single woman, at the time of the Messenger ﷺ, that she was not married. Nowadays, you find a lot. Why? Because again, we make mistakes and we are doing things very, very difficult. We are causing lots of hardships. And for women also, sometimes, it's not their priority. marriage. And consequently, we have lots of problems. If the society is healthy, marriage is common. But when the marriage is 50%, or last month it was 49%, so actually now the majority of the Americans are not married, then there is a problem. So try to compare now. Look, at the time of the Messenger ﷺ, there was no single woman who was not married. Yes, there was of them widowed, divorced, but I cannot recall any woman, any single woman that she was not married of the companions of the Messenger ﷺ. So that's why when they say children, they mean everybody, but actually the focus was on boys, because the girls, they will be taken care of anyway. And again, the examples that they are giving, poverty and childhood, poverty and sickness, poverty and insanity, that means they are unable to make their own money. What if he was poor, but not child, and not sick, and not insane? And he is unable to work. Then you should provide for him. Now, if your child is 17 years, he is 17 years old, and he doesn't have enough money, he wants to go to college, do you have to provide for him? Yes? Why? He cannot afford to go to college. What if the college tuition is very high? Even the father cannot afford. He has to take a loan, or what? What the parents are doing actually is not mandatory. Yes, he is your child, so you should do it. If you did not do it to him, to whom you will do it? You are collecting your money to whom? So, but it's not mandatory. Once the child reaches the age of puberty, it is his job now. He has to provide for himself. If the parent provided for him, then it is optional. And this is the only thing that I find very similar to the Western culture, where if the boy reached 18, he leaves the house and he is working and he is on his own. This is actually Islamic. Once you reach the age of puberty, of course in Islam it's not 18, it is less than that. Sometimes it is 13, sometimes it is 15. But because now we say you have to get this degree and that degree and you cannot work if you... They have to stay. So that's interesting. And this is about provision for parents and for children. Parents for children and for parents is mandatory, as long as they are in need. Therefore, zakah also. Can you pay zakah for your children? The answer is no. You don't pay zakah for your children. If they need, you have to give them. What if your child is not Muslim? Or your father. You accepted Islam and your father, still he is not Muslim. Do you provide for him or no? Yes? He's not Muslim. What about your son? Still you provide for them. Because provision is about the relationship, not about religion. This is important. Religion is irrelevant here. Yes, of course, you wish that they are all the same and they have to accept Islam, but if they did not, still you have to provide for them. Because unfortunately some people take this as a tool, means of pressure. Accept Islam or I won't pay you. No, you have to pay him. You have to provide for him. He's your father or he's your son. Now we're moving to another important issue, which is the child custody. If there was a problem, turn it off. That's easier. if there was a divorce and there are children in the middle, who takes care of them? Who takes the custody? The father or the mother? It depends. He says the father. You say the mother. Yes. He is 5 years old. Well, it depends. Look what it says. If the husband divorced his wife and he has children, then she has the right of custody. That's the default. She has the right of custody until the child is 7 years old. Then, if the child reached 7 years old, why they said 7? Now 7, is it the age of puberty? No. But the age of a different thing, which we call tamyiz, sin tamyiz. Tamyiz is distinction. They are able to know what is correct, what is wrong. If you discipline them, they will listen. Younger than that, they won't be able to distinguish or to differentiate. So once they reach the age of 7, then they are given the choice. The children. Yes. Do you want to go with your father or you want to go with your mother? That's the default. However, there are conditions for that custody. It's not absolute that it's always this case. There are conditions. What if the child is 3 years? Who takes the custody? The mother. But the mother is married to another man. And the father is not married. Who takes custody? The father. What if he's 2 years old? Who takes custody? He's married. The father is married. Okay. Here are the conditions. There are 7 conditions for custody. 7 conditions. First of all, sanity. A husband married his wife. They had 2 children. But then the wife got a disease or something wrong happened and she became insane. And he divorced her because of that. Who takes custody over the children? He takes it, not hers. Then freedom. If the husband is free and the mother is slave, who takes custody? The father, because slavery means you are busy serving your master. The third is religion. If the child is 2 years old, he is still breastfeeding, but his mother is Christian and his father is Muslim, who takes custody? The father, not the mother. Chastity, another condition. Why? Because why we discuss the issue of child custody? We want to take care of the children. If we say you go always with your mother, and his mother was wicked person, she was not modest person, most likely the children will be like her, and you don't want that. So chastity is another condition. Honesty. Residency. Now this is again interesting thing. Imagine you are living here. Okay? A divorce happened. And she said, I want to go overseas with the children. Who takes custody? The father. Because 4 children, they are supposed to be here. That's where they were born and that's where they are growing. So the one who moves, he gives up the custody. That's the default. But of course there are differences and there are conditions also, different situations. Then not marrying. That's the 7th condition. So these are the 7 conditions: sanity, freedom, religion, chastity, honesty, residency, and not marrying. Where are these conditions came from? What's the evidence? What's the evidence? We have from the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ, two companions, a husband and his wife. They were divorced, and each one of them wanted to take custody over the child. So the Prophet ﷺ told the mother, أنت أحق به ما لم تنكحي. You are more worthy of him as long as you did not marry. You are not married. So if she is not married, then who takes care of the children? Who takes custody? The mother. In another case, again, a husband and wife, they disputed over the custody of their child. And the Prophet ﷺ gave the child the choice. He was 7 years old. And he told him, this is your father and this is your mother. Choose. And he prayed to Allah. Oh, Allah guide him to take the correct decision. So the child went with his mother. So there are hadith situations from the Sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ where we learn that this is the case. Other than that, other conditions like freedom, there is no specific hadith that the free mother or the free parent is more worthy of the child custody. We don't have a hadith like that, but we have other evidences. Like analogy, we have that the slave is always busy with his master. So whoever is free, he takes care of the child. Now, when we discuss this, when there is a dispute, but if both parties agree, then there is no problem. Even if the child is 3 years old and the mother is not married, the father is married, yet she said, you take him, there is no problem. If he wanted to take him and she said, okay, that's okay. But once they dispute. And nowadays, there are many problems after divorce because of the children. And people don't know the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't know what are the rulings. And again, the cause of this sometimes because each one wants to harm the other one. And they take the children as excuse. While you should think of what is the best for them. So these are the conditions of custody. If any of these conditions is not met, is not fulfilled, then custody is removed. So here is a case where we have a married mother and a single father. Where does the child go? Father. What if that father is Christian and the mother is Muslim? Yeah, he just apostated. Well, again, there are some cases where you could dispute and you could argue. Like chastity. What constitutes chastity? Or honesty. Each spouse could accuse the other one that he is or she is lying. Because to begin with, who determines the custody? The judge. And he can look and determine and say that this is... I asked, actually, some lawyers said is very, very close to the American law. Still, there are some differences, but the concept is similar. Of course. Of course. Like maybe the religion part, I don't think it's even a factor here. Usually give it to the mother. Again, that's the default. In Islam, it's given to the mother. Until 7 years old. Because basically, if the father would not take him, and actually many times if he took him, it's only just to break the heart of the mother. If the child is 2 years old, what are you going to do with him? You are going to change, you are going to breastfeed. You cannot do that. It is the job of the mother. So with this, inshallah, we finished the book of nikah and divorce, and we are moving now to another chapter in fiqh. We're moving to the book of offenses, or what we call in our term nowadays, felonies, jinayat. Offenses, we mean by offenses against people. And what is the greatest offense? Killing. And that's where we will start. Because that's the biggest offense, to kill someone, to cause him to die, to take his life. It is killing. And we have 3 categories of killing. Because what's the ruling? If someone killed another one, he should be killed. What if the killer did it because the judge told him to kill him? What if it was by mistake? Do you kill him? No. So we have different categories. Basically, we have 3 categories. Deliberate means by intention, you intended to kill him. By mistake, this is the second type. Deliberate by mistake. How could this happen? Deliberate by mistake. We will see. So these are the 3 categories of killing. We have deliberate, we have by mistake, and we have deliberate by mistake. We'll start with the first category, which is deliberate killing. What constitutes deliberate killing? Intention. You intend to kill that person. That's not enough. Jurists always look to the tool that is used. Besides the intention, to hit someone with an instrument that is used for killing with the intention of killing him, that's the deliberate killing. You have a very sharp sword and you hit someone on his neck and eventually he was killed. Is that deliberate killing? Yes, it is. Why? Because if you come and say, I was joking, you don't joke with sword. I did not mean to kill him. If you did not mean to kill him, you don't hit him on his neck. So that's deliberate killing. Sharp sword, spear, knife, pistol nowadays. You don't shoot someone and say, I was joking or I did not mean to kill him. That's not accepted. That is deliberate killing. So this is the first type. What's the punishment for this? What is the punishment? Qisas. And what's the meaning of qisas? What did we say? What's the definition of qisas? The equal punishment. But jurists, they have like a custom. When they say qisas, basically it means killing. Killing for killing. That's the meaning of qisas. That's in general, but the exact meaning of qisas, the equal punishment. So if someone cut a hand of someone and his hand was cut, that's qisas. If someone broke something and this thing should be broken from him, that's qisas also. But in general, when they say qisas, they mean killing. So the one who killed someone else deliberately, then he should be killed. However, if the relatives of the murdered person, people killed your father, and you came and said, I forgive you, then does the qisas happen? No. What if your father was the president of the country? It doesn't matter. As long as the relatives forgave, there is nothing called what we call nowadays the right of the state or the punishment, the other punishment. It is only for, why qisas legislated? To protect lives. And also to comfort the relatives of the murdered person. Because when they see that this person was punished, they will be pleased with it. So if they themselves said, we don't want to punish him, then it's up to them. That's Islam. So if they forgave, then he will not be killed. But instead, what should he do? He should pay increased diya. Diya means blood money. That's the meaning of diya. Increased. We have increased and we have decreased, or we call heavy and light. Heavy means increased, and light means decreased. In both cases, the diya is 100 camels. That's the diya, 100 camels. Nowadays, it is approximately $30,000. That's the diya. Now, that's not the price for a human being, but that's only the compensation for the accident, for what happened. Who pays that money? The killer. The killer has to pay this money. So this is the deliberate killing. The second type is the accidental killing, or killing by mistake. How we can define the accidental killing? If someone took a sword and he threw it and the person was killed, is this accidental? What was the intention? He said, I did not mean to kill him. Yes?
Depends on like how far he was and
How far? Remember, again, I told you, we look to the tool, the instrument that is used. That is very important. And the action. Car. Is the car used for killing? What do you use the car for? Transportation. You're driving and you hit someone and he was killed. Is that deliberate killing or accidental? Accidental. You did not mean to kill him. Yeah, but again, can you use the car for killing? Yes, if you intended. So there are two things. There is the intention and there is the action. You have the intention, you have the tool, the instrument that is used. What about the rock? What do we use the rock for? Building, playing, maybe. If you hit someone with the rock and he was killed, what do we call this? Now, you were aiming at the roof, and you were very accurate in your shot. It went like 5 meters away, and it killed someone. So that's what we call accidental killing. To hit someone, or to throw something, and hit someone with it, and he's killed because of that. So first, you did not mean to hit him. You were not aiming at him. Second, what did you use? That's what we look for. Did you use an instrument that kills usually, or it doesn't kill? Very clear example in our time, the car. People don't kill. But there are people killed because of car accidents. Why? Because it was an accident. Now, even if you have a car and you are driving and someone else is driving and you aim to kill him, it's very difficult. You have and maybe sometimes you think you will be killing him and you may kill yourself. So that's a current example from our time, the car. What's the ruling here? Is there qisas? can the relatives of the killed person come and say, you killed him, so you have to be killed? You killed him, didn't you? It was an accident. Because it was an accident, you are not killed. There is no qisas. But what is there instead? There is diya, decreased diya. It is still 100 camels, but the types of camels are different. And we will come to know those types and those differences, inshallah, soon. Who pays this diya? The one who did the killing? No. You kill, but you don't pay. Yes. Who pays it? The male relatives, or what we call al-aqila. Al-aqila. What's the meaning of al-aqila? The male relatives from the family. Well, they have nothing to do with it. You go kill someone by accident and you come to me and you tell me you have to pay and you share me in this thing? The answer is yes. Because if you died, they will inherit from you. They are your relatives. So, the male relatives, they pay the diya. Now, in the previous example, when it is deliberate, we said who pays the diya? The blood money. Who pays the diya? The killer himself. And he has to pay it immediately. In this case, if it was by mistake, the male relatives, they collect the money and they are given 3 years. How much they are given? 3 years. So they are given time to collect the money. This is the accidental killing. The third type, killing by mistake deliberately. And this may sound a little bit confusing. To hit someone intentionally. You intended to hit him. And he's killed because of that. But why it is not deliberate killing like the first one? Because what you hit him with is not something that kills usually. That's how we know your intention. We don't wait until you tell us, oh, I did not intend to kill him. You intended to hit him and you hit him. But you hit him with something that doesn't kill usually. Like what? Like a stick. You have a stick and you were fighting with him. There was a quarrel, there was something, brawl, and you hit him with it. But eventually he was killed because of that. You did not intend to kill him. Yes, you were fighting him. There was something, but you did not intend to kill him. While the other case, the first case, you have a knife. So we know that your objective was obvious. You wanted to kill him. While in this case, it rarely kills. The stick does not kill. Or the pen. In this case, what's the ruling? Now you intended to hit him. But you did not intend to kill him. So what's the ruling? Is there qisas? You killed him. But you intended also to hit him. But your intention was not killing. Since your intention was not killing, you're not killed. There is no qisas. But there is an increased diya. So that's the difference between this killing and the previous killing, the accidental killing. Again, who pays the diya? The aqila. It is not the killer. Only the first case, the killer pays the money because he did it deliberately. Here in this case, It is again on the male relatives. Now if I asked you a question. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us the story of Musa alayhi salam. If I asked you what type of killing is the killing of Musa alayhi salam, which one? Musa alayhi salam, he pushed him. Yes, his push. The third type? No. It is the second type. Because even the push was not intended as a punch. He was just keeping him away, that's all. It is mere accidental killing. Again, we look at the tool and the action. Musa alayhi salam did not have any tool. However, if someone expert in martial arts, and he came and he killed someone, he did not use any tool with his hand, then which type is it? No? He intended to kill him and he knew that he is able to kill him. It is deliberate. Even though he did not use any instrument. Sometimes it is confusing and it is the job of the judge to determine whether it was deliberate, it was accidental, or it was deliberate by mistake. Okay, we will stop here inshallah, if there is any question. Lot of questions? Actually, before the questions, we need to continue. I forgot one last thing. What if a father killed his son? He took him, he took the gun and he shot him. It is deliberate killing, right? Because he intended to kill him. What's the ruling? Qisas. The father is not killed by his son. The father is not killed by his son. All scholars agreed on that. He's the reason for you to be here, your father. Does that mean there is no punishment? No, there could be punishment determined by the judge, but it's not. It will never reach qisas, killing. The father is not killed because of killing his son. What if the son killed his father? Then yes, he is killed. What if the killer was a free man and the killed was a slave? No. There is no qisas. Remember the ayah, al-hurru bil-hurri wal-abdu bil-abdi wal-untha bil-untha. What if the killer was Muslim and the killed was non-Muslim? Why you say here and you say there? There are 4 conditions. There are 4 conditions for applying the qisas. If any one of them is not fulfilled, then there is no qisas. If the killer was insane, again the Prophet ﷺ said, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمْ عَنْ ثَلَاثَةٍ. The pen is lifted. If he was not adult yet, he was a child. Again, it is the same. He is not killed. Okay, now we will take questions, if there is any questions.
Olivia is asking if the child is still breastfeeding, does the mother still have to meet all the conditions for custody since they don't have step-by nurses today?
Yeah, she still has to meet the conditions, but it could be up to the judge to determine whether it is better to keep him even if she is lacking one of the conditions or not. But in general, yes, she has to meet all conditions.
Another question is by Alia. She's asking, during the story during Homer's time when a man killed an old man unintentionally for relatives, the old man wanted to ask for his daughter. What about that story?
I don't know. What about that story?
She's saying that because it was unintentional,
Yeah.
is it okay to have qisas not just
As long as it is not intentional, there cannot be qisas. There is no qisas.
What if you push him off the cliff? There's no deliberate, and you deliberately given that there's no object being used.
Again, like I said, if it's like martial arts, or it is like, it depends on what you did. Sometimes your intention is manifested by the tool you used.
The question from yesterday, AREES is asking about the difference between the wrath of Allah and the curse of Allah.
Yes, the la'na of Allah and the ghadab of Allah. Some scholars considered both of them are the same, since both of them means deprivation from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From that aspect, they are the same. If the one is cursed, or the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on someone, then he is not going to paradise. However, some scholars said the wrath of Allah is greater than the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, two of them are great things, but the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater. If they are both the same, then there is no need to mention them differently. Usually you mention different things. Like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَنْ لَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ وَغَضِبَ عَلَيْهِ, he whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed and the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was on him. If it's the same thing, then there is no need to repeat it. So, even in the case of li'an, imprecation, which is greater? To accuse your wife of adultery, or she is lying that she committed it and she did not do it, and she's saying she did not do it. Which is greater? So the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater. The wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater.
If your parents tell you that you have to go to college, but they won't give you money, and you don't want to take out loans because you don't want that, you have to obey them.
If your parents tell you to go to college and you don't want to take loan, if it doesn't involve anything haram, you have to obey them. But if you are going to take loan and that loan incurs interest, then you don't have to obey them.
Would you say that the 17-year-old must be provided by the father?
No, I said that 17 years old, it's not mandatory on the father to provide for him, because he's able to work.
And the last one is, for a woman who is married and wants to study, who pays for her, the husband or the parents?
No, the woman, once she is married, her husband. Now, he doesn't have to pay for her for education unless she stated that, because that's not one of the rights of the wife upon her husband, unless they agreed on it before marriage. Yes?
What if you kill somebody in self-defense?
Self-defense, that's not, again, we are talking about offenses, not defenses. Okay? What if you kill somebody in jihad? That's not what we're talking about. Okay. We'll stop here, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.